there were some people who proposed a post-tribulation rapture, or no, pre-tribulation rapture would be the one where the Christians are spared. So in the movies that we watched when I was a kid, the movies that my parents took me to watch, really scary shit for kids, that was where the Christians have to stay. Oh no, that one they suggested that all the Christians would go to heaven, and then the people who were left on the earth, among them would be folks who would end up accepting Jesus and who would suffer endlessly at the hands of the government and the police and their peers. So some people believed that the Christians would have to suffer through the tribulation before they got to go to heaven, and some people posited that they would not. So there was really no consistency in, it's kind of funny because they knew when Jesus was coming, but, like down to the day, but they couldn't decide whether the Christians were going to have to suffer or not. So disagreement about that, agreement about the fact that Jesus was coming. Nonetheless, so in the story it goes, you have to accept the mark of the beast, and if you don't accept the mark of the beast, then you can't buy food. It's the barcode in the arm, the right arm, or in the forehead. And if you don't take the mark of the beast, then when the government or the food grocery tries to scan you, then you can't buy food. So the Christians are starving, and they're persecuted, and the police are looking for them. The police are looking for the people who refuse the mark of the beast, and it's a lot of persecution, which Christians are really good at. So I think in a lot of ways, for me personally, growing up, I wasn't excited to go to heaven, and I wasn't excited for the second coming of Christ, because there was no, like, joy to dying for me in my mind, you know. I think heaven's a fairly abstract concept, so given that, I think it appeals mostly to adults as a place to go. But, you know, as a kid, I was still kind of attached to being on Earth. The fact that dying meant inevitably there would be a whole bunch of suffering preceding it really didn't make me want to die, and it really didn't make me want to live either. But it kind of created this environment where I lived in a lot of perpetual terror, I guess. It was also the 80s, so there was the Cold War going on at the same time. And, yeah, it was also Arizona, so a xenophobic, racist state that it is. I take all of the things from my growing up, and I try and make sense out of why I choose to do what I do with my life now, and how my rearing influences the relationships that I have with people and things, with concepts like the future, and my relationship with myself as well. And I try and make these things have meaning almost compulsively at points. I think I have believed that if I can just make sense out of these puzzles, then everything will maybe start functioning in a different way. I guess that supposes an ideal, which is always inevitably inaccurate.